Welcome back. Welcome back. It's Ed Martin in for Andrea Kaye. I am filling in. She'll be back tomorrow. Andrea Kaye is doing fine. She's on assignment. That's what we say in the business. And great to be with you again. Ed Martin, my show begins in 23 minutes right here on The Answer San Diego. So as Andrea likes to say here, you can go take a break, get something to eat or drink, and come right back. Got about 5 minutes after her show ends before mine starts. So four or 5 minutes you have time. That should be enough time. And we got a couple great guests today. I'll talk to Selena Zito on my program. Selena Zito, journalist who sort of chronicles everyday Americans. She is down on the Tennessee border, Tennessee Virginia border, Bristol, Tennessee. On one side of the state line, literally runs through the town right there. One side is Tennessee, one side's Virginia. One side is locked down, that's Virginia. One side is open and has businesses and things going, that's Tennessee. And Selena talks to the folks in this little town. It's a pretty striking contrast, and you'll enjoy that piece. So come on back for the Pro America Report, and we'll talk about that. Next, we got to go to a friend of mine who is very pro-America himself. Rick Manning is the president of Americans for Limited Government. He has worked in the Department of Labor. He has been involved in inside and outside of government. He was worked directly with President Trump during his transition. He's a really good fighter for us, for we the people, up in the it's not even a knife fight. It's like it's worse. It's more brutal than a knife fight up in the swamp. So Rick, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ed. We're having all sorts of fun right now, aren't we? Boy.
Oh my gosh. If we didn't keep our sense of humor, I worked for the late Phyllis Schlafly, and she had this way of, they always caricatured, because she just believed it all works out in the end, in the very big picture, and in America we figure it out. So you just keep smiling, right? I mean, there's too many things if you focused on the bad, we'd get down in the dumps. But Rick, I haven't talked to you. I mean, you and I are friends for years, so I haven't talked to you since, and now we're on the show here. But the government response, I mean, there's a lot of things that the Trump administration, you and I and people would love, cutting regulation, even now, cutting regulation, judges and all. But I don't think anybody quite realizes how massive these stupid bailout bills are, and how they're going to probably do it again. I mean, it's almost mind-boggling what's going on, right?
I've never seen anything like it. We're on a track to end up with before the end of next fiscal year, a $30 trillion deficit, national debt. $30 trillion national debt. We will jump from 23 trillion to 30 trillion in probably 18 months. And it's just an unending spending spree. The next spending spree that Nancy Pelosi has in mind wants us to bail out all the big states, the pension funds and everything else that are messed up. So put trillions of dollars into that. They also want us to give $2,000 for every single person who makes under $135,000 a year for 6 months as a guaranteed income. Which is something it's almost impossible to get rid of once you start it. There will be no allowance for trying to get rid of the extra $600 a week in the unemployment insurance, which is effectively makes half the people in America who have been laid off, they make more money on unemployment than they do in their jobs. Good luck getting those people to go back to work. So we have a system that's being set up during this crisis to effectively fundamentally change America in ways we couldn't even conceive of. And it's dangerous. We're fighting like crazy, and we have to get America reopened in order to fix it.
Right.
And that's why I've got a website, www.reopenamerica.now.org, that we're pushing. People go there, the sign goes directly to governors saying reopen the state.
We're talking with Rick Manning, and that's what I wanted to move to that next and talk about this effort, because we were just talking to one of our folks over in Hawaii, and Brooke McGowan, and she was talking. They're doing reopen Hawaii, and I tell you, in Hawaii there's very little sickness. I mean, there's like none. Whatever, they got everything in Hawaii. They get all the weather, they get the water, they get no coronavirus, right? So there, it's like, okay, everybody look around. A couple of us are going to get sick. Let's go back to work. Okay, good. In other places, in Chicago, in D.C., some more people are going to get sick. But at this point, you can't take the cure that's better. You can't take a cure that's worse than the illness, right? We're killing the country. And so we got to move. How do we handle, Rick, how do we try to handle being real about the risk because we're real about what we're kind of fading into here? You know, how do we tell our friends and neighbors, be ready for it's not going to be perfect, but you got to remember what it could have been if we stayed in our house.
Because here's the fact. The United Nations came out with a report a week and a half ago that said because of the economic depression that's being caused, hundreds of thousands of children will die this year who otherwise would not have died just from poverty. That's a direct result of this economic shutdown. Hundreds of thousands of children around the world are going to die, according to the United Nations. You can take them, the left who wants to shut us down, they believe in the United Nations, so they better believe that stat. So that's one thing. We know that suicides are going up. We know that. We're seeing it already. We know that the people who are addicted to drugs, we're seeing additional overdoses. We're seeing more women coming into emergency rooms because of spousal abuse. We're seeing a mental illness that's going to cripple many people for a generation, being exacerbated by this shutdown and the sense of isolation that's being created. So you want to talk about real hardship? That's real hardship. You know what real hardship is? Real hardship's when your mom or your dad is in the hospital with something totally different than this, and you can't visit them when they're vulnerable, scared, and they're isolated. And you can't say your final goodbye to your parents because they're in the stupid hospital and they've shut everything out and you can't go talk to your parents. That's cruelty. That's cruelty at its core. And yet that's what the social isolation and the policies we put into place are creating. So when people say, oh, it's, like Cuomo did last week, oh, COVID is death. Let me tell you what death is. Death is what we're doing in terms of creating a depression in our economy, creating 30 million people more unemployed. That's death, because the left continually has reminded us over the years that poverty is death. Well, they're creating the poverty, and that poverty they're creating is going to create the death that they say they want to avoid. So it's time to get real and start getting back to work, because yes, some people will get sick. Some additional people will get sick, but far more people will lose everything. Will lose everything, not just economically, but emotionally and spiritually,
right,
based on this social isolation and the economic depression that's caused.
We're talking with Rick Manning, and again, Rick is the president of Americans for Limited Government, and the website he mentioned is really a good one to go to, and it's if you go to reopen, I'll get it right. Don't tell me because I looked it up. reopenamericanow.org. reopenamericanow.org. You sign up for it's not just one of these petitions. It gets sent to the senators. You have to put in your zip code so they know your senators and all, and get it to them. Rick, how do you think in this case with the modern? You were present at the creation of the Tea Party, not the original one, although maybe, but you've been present at these moments and the sort of movements of the
I
conservative.
wasn't with the Sons of Liberty, but I'm not that old. I was.
I don't know. I want to check a birth certificate. I didn't see Obama's birth certificate or yours. I need to check them both. But let's go back to, and I'm being serious though about this, that I feel like today in 2020, there is more opportunity for we the people to actually make these guys and gals change what they're doing. When you hear Brooke McGowan say at Reopen Hawaii, they had a rally on the Friday, and the Hawaii governor changed some of his plans. Newsom in California, he's going to shut all the beaches down. Then he starts to see the protests, the energy, the social media, the kinds of things that you're talking about. reopenamericanow.org. I think we have a way to make our voice heard, we the people, and modify behavior, even in the left, even in the Democrat left-leaning states. Do you feel that? Do you feel like there's a real opportunity as well as a challenge here?
Yeah, I do. I really do. There's, you just look at the situation in Orange County, California, which is, I grew up in that area, so I know this is a San Diego station. I grew up just north of there. And, as punishment for people in Orange County going to the beach, the Newsom tried to shut down the beaches in Orange County. I wanted to remind Newsom that they got a clean sweep. All 4 of the congressional districts, 5 of the congressional districts in Orange County went Democrat this time. The Republicans lost 4 seats in Orange County. And you want to know how you lose seats for Democrats? You tell people in Orange County they can't go to the beach. Okay? That's how you lose seats in Orange County. You tell them, we're going to arrest you if you're out on your surfboard or if you're out on your boogie board. You start doing that to people in Newport Beach and Huntington Beach, and you know what you're not going to be? You're not going to be an elected official. And every single one of those Democrats are having to eat that right now. And all those dumb kids who voted for the left are now not able to skateboard. They're not able to go to the beach, not able to surf. And they're going to say, not this time. And they're going to vote them out of office, and Orange County will return to being a Republican county.
Well, and Rick Manning, thank you. I got to run, but I'm going to go find that picture of you in the banana sling bathing suit on your boogie board from your days in Orange County, just to put that up there, because people need to see it wasn't just the government that was limited back in the day when Rick Manning was surfing out in Orange County. Hey, thanks, Rick, and we'll put it up on social media. Again, folks should go visit reopenamerica.now.org, reopenamerica.now.org. Sign up that petition and pay attention. Appreciate it very much, Rick. Keep in touch.
Thank you, Ed. Take care. Bye.
All right. We'll